Yeah, the last like vocal rock kind of more song-oriented record has been 10 years. I felt it was time. I guess maybe I just wanted to do something radically different from the whole TOTO thing and get away from that. But then my friend Randy Goodrum, who introduced me to my friends at Ride Records, said that they would like me to be an artist on their label, the first artist. And I thought, wow, young musicians with older musicians. You know, both my son co-wrote songs with me and played on it. My daughter sang some background on the song, and it was a family affair. And then I got all these great musicians together, and they brought what they brought to it, you know, their ideas and their input for the arrangements and stuff like that. And it just, once we started doing it, I was having so much fun. It was effortless, really. Even though I worked hard at it, it was not difficult work. It was fun, very creative, and the process really came together in a very positive way. I mean, the songs really were more important, and then the guitar I just facilitated. Like, I tried to play some interesting stuff. I mean, there's a million guys that do all this, you know what I mean? I mean, you go on YouTube, there's like, you know, a 3-year-old kid that can play faster than God, you know? That's not my point, you know? I mean, I got enough, I can do all that stuff, but I mean, usually when you make a record, you realize that record is a snapshot. That means you're always going to look at it, you're always going to hear it. So you want to try, I try to play something that was a little more memorable and something a little bit more like a surprise thing rather than just technical, you know what I mean? And most of the stuff was done in 1 or 2 takes, you know? I don't try to overthink it. I think I'm still a student. I'm still a student. I still practice. I surround myself with, and I've been honored enough to play with some of the best, and that rubs off on me, you know. And I learn every time. I'm still a music fan. When I go see somebody who's incredible play, or I get a chance to play with them, then you walk away a better musician, because something that they do, you go, wow, I would have never, wow, that was really awesome. I want to figure that out. How do you do that? And then I go home and figure it out, you know what I mean? I think most of us lifer guitar players, you know, long-time musicians, we have a tendency to inspire each other. But I don't even for 1 second think that I'm really, you know, I think I'm a good guitar player. I wouldn't say that I'm great or I'm some legend or something like that. You know? I'm still trying to work at it. If somebody enjoys it, I thank them very much. I appreciate the compliment, but you know, I don't see myself in that way, and nor would I ever. Oh man, I listen to a lot of acoustic jazz music, you know, old school bebop stuff. I mean, I'm a rock player, but you know, I have sort of a jazz sense. I would never call myself a jazz musician in the true sense of the word. But you know, I'm very inspired by the greats, you know, and I've had a chance to work with some of them and play with them, and that in itself is a great honor. You know, I'm not really sure where I fit in musically, you know. Like, I'm not a metal guy, I'm not a super, you know, pop guy, I'm not a country guy, I'm not a bopper, but I love all of it, and some of it comes into my music. So I just do what I like, and hopefully other people like it. You know? I got 30 years in, so thank you very much for that. I don't have any particular regime. I just kind of like, you know, I have some books that I look at. You know, there's the Nicholas Leminski's book, Thesaurus of Scales and Modes. I found there's a wealth of information in there. A lot of times, some of these guitar magazines have some great notation in there that you go like, oh, I like, well, how does that guy do that, you know? And I check that out, and you know, you don't necessarily steal their licks, but if you learn something and you know, and you go, wow, okay, that's cool, and that inspires a whole different set of ideas. And I always practice on an acoustic guitar with very heavy strings. I don't really play electric guitar at home much at all. I find that if you can play it very clean and together on an acoustic guitar, when you get an electric guitar, then it's going to be spot on. Sit there and, like, you know, play scales or anything like that. Generally, you know, you try to warm up and you know get the technique. And, you like that. But that's just wanking off. But at the same time, it's like letting the muscles open up and relax. But right now, I've been into a lot of like chord melody study. Ted Green, chord chemistry. I mean, you could spend a lifetime with that book and never learn it all. There's 1,000 ways to play an A chord. If people tell you that rock and roll is only 3 chords, that's a bunch of bullshit, man. That's somebody that doesn't want to pursue anything else. I mean, you don't see that many rock players that go, they don't know that chord. You know what I mean? It's like they just want to go, which is great. I love it as much as anybody else does. But there's a lot. There's so many beautiful chords there. 99% of the record is Music Man Lukather. On one tune, Tell Me What You Want From Me, I have this Vox teardrop guitar that has the fuzz tone and all this shit built in. It's a vintage guitar. It had this really weird fuzz sound on it, so I did some of that stuff on that. But I gotta say, the Music Man guitar is the finest instrument I've ever owned. I mean, these are basically custom guitars that are manufactured in America by my best friend Sterling Ball. That's his company. Ernie Ball was his father, and his sons are all part of the company. But they made the guy that made the luthier that makes guitars, Dudley Gimple. I mean, he's been making my guitars prior to my even coming to Music Man. I wouldn't use the guitar if I didn't really love it, and it's such a versatile guitar. I can get, as you can tell by listening to the record, you can get so many different sounds. I used a lot of different amplifiers. I used all vintage amplifiers. Like I said, I used these little teeny, like weird, like little Gibson amp, Supro amp, Magnetone, Vox AC30, Marshall. I actually used my son's Marshall, which is, you just happen to have a really good one. John Sir made this brand new little teeny weird little head amp, and I checked that out. Yeah, I found that to be really interesting. I used Bob Bradshaw's stuff, VHT stuff. I tried a lot of different. Then we went out, we got a bunch of stomp boxes, and we tried some different stuff. I didn't use any of my normal live rack stuff at all. All the effects were done at the mixing desk. TOTO was a high school band, and then Jeff went and joined Steely Dan, and then after that, him and David Page did the Soak Degrees record, and then I joined the tour after that record was done. After I got out of high school, I was just like a teenager, and then at the end of that tour, we went into the studio and started the first TOTO album in 1977. So I mean, and then I did a lot of Boz's records after that, and then we collaborated, wrote songs together. And hung, and I played live, and I'd sit in, and we did a benefit a few years back, and Udo-san put this wonderful idea to put us together on this tour. We haven't done a tour. Usually we just tour just by ourselves, but we thought, wow, this would be different. This will really be fun. And I'm hoping that, I talked to Boz. I said, what if I come out and I play with you, and then you come out and play with us, and then we do a big finale. So it's more of a it's a show where we both jam with each other, and it's strictly for Japan. It's the only place we're going to do it is Japan, so it should be a lot of fun. I would say advice. I mean, a lot of times people think you have to practice for like 10 hours a day, so if you're learning to do that, you can hurt yourself that way. You need to. My teachers, when I was young, and the way I feel, it's good to practice and practice hard, but practice for a half hour, and if ever your arm starts to hurt, stop and shake it off, take a break, go make a coffee, walk around the house, have lunch or something like that, and really it's most important to relax. If you tense up like this, like this, you're gonna sound like you play like that, and you're gonna hurt your muscles. Basically if you want to develop technique, start slow. I mean, Satriani was like a great teacher, and he's also a great friend. But his whole thing when he was teaching students is like, play it real slow, learn it slow, and then gradually build it up so when it gets fast, it's clean. Because a lot of cats go, you know, it's like, you know, and yeah, maybe you can impress your friends for a second, but it's bullshit. It doesn't mean it. Play music. Don't worry about being so flashy. Play music, whatever kind of music it is. And also keep a really open mind. You know, just because you love metal music doesn't mean you can't appreciate a great country guitar player, or you can't appreciate just a good pop song. Keep an open mind. You'll learn a lot, and you'll become a better player. Even if you are a die-hard metal guy, you'll learn something from listening to something else. You know, and, good music is good music, and great musicians are great musicians, no matter what style it is.